that, not only from the competition side, but also from the supporter side. And we are really very excited about the trend that we pass a kind of, period that was not so exciting, but the way the competition is renewing and the way this is becoming more and more a very strong show, and people appreciate that, and the new audience is really going for it. We are very glad with that. I think this is the way to continue, and we are going to work on it, to make sure that this continuing this trend.
We also work on that, of course, and we do have a new category. The Young Star category is born. What is that for a message for the young drivers?
Definitely. I think the future of any sport, and the motor sport in particular, is very dependent on the new generation, the new talent. We are working on that. We are developing new schools all around the world, and before everybody wanted just to be on Formula One. Now you start seeing that the people are looking at other competition, the rallies, and of course the tracks. And we are very glad. You see on the list of pilots today that we have very young people already competing at European level, and we are very glad of seeing that, and we will continue to support in that direction. Both from FIA and locally in Spain from RACE.
And the implementation of new techniques is also very, very good, and also the inclusion of a new fuel, for example. So this was truck racing first to be so sustainable. What do you say about the future there?
Oh, I think that there is no other way. We have to support the sustainability of our sport. The way to sustain it is open. I mean, we are open to any technology, in the same way that the global mobility should be open to any technology. The objective should be the no emissions, but how you get there is free. Whether this is electric, whether this is e-fuels, whether this is hydrogen, whatever. I mean, open mind, but the objective is not the technique or the technology we use. The objective is the no emissions. And then we are going to be, from FIA, we are going to be supporting all the different technologies to go in that model in our competitions.
Thank you very much. We're competing on your home ground right now. Thank you. We will see a fierce competition. And the next time you're entering the FIA Senate, please tell about us.
Oh, yeah, definitely I will tell about it. This is a very special competition within FIA. And now having me there, we say this is our circuit. Normally, we normally have the end of the competition here, and for us it's an honor, and we will be supporting the track racing for sure from FIA.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to
Enjoy. We are going right now onto the grid, everyone.
Okay, stay well.
Stay well indeed. Yes, hello everybody. Chaz Draycott here, commentating on the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. The sun is still shining here in Spain. It's 4:20 local time. It's not often that we have a race one of the week so far into the day. But I tell you what, it gives us a very exciting prospect for the later afternoon. This is how the championship looks then before this first race of the weekend. Norbert Kish is currently top of the pile on 361 points. 277 points then going the way of Jochen Hahn so far. He sits 50 points back. Then it's Sasha Lenz, only 2 points clear of Antonio Albacete, with Steffi Halm locked in a fierce fight with Andre Kurzim and Jamie Anderson. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez up there as well. And in the Promoters' Cup, we also have a classic fight brewing. But of course, all of those drivers are in the overall standings as well, with a separate scoring system. So everybody's got something to fight for at the moment. And sure, in some cases, it may not be a top three in a certain category or in the championship, but at the same time, there will be some fantastic fights for just overall honours, and drivers trying to just get the better of one another and having those extra bragging rights. So Sasha Lenz and his team have had some hard work so far today to get everything fixed and get everything ready to go. And they will be very excited to get this truck out there and racing again to see what he can do with it in race trim. Now, speaking of how it went from qualifying, or earlier sessions, I should say, to the race that we're about to start, Mark Taylor will start from the back of the grid here. He did qualify, I believe, in 13th position. Not right at the back of the grid in 15th. But because of breaching Parc Fermé regulations, Mark will start at the back, but basically they got the truck back in. They had to get it repaired before the race, so they only lose a single position, I believe, and they will start at the back anyway. We'll see how they get on. Someone that's really excited, I'm sure, I had a quick chat with him earlier, is Antonio Albacete. He's starting at the front of the grid at his home race.
Photos taken. So, Antonio, ¿va a ganar?
Sí, hombre, claro que gana.
So he's saying that he's going to win. Let's ask Antonio himself. And of course, the president of the RACE also congratulated him. Antonio, so you're starting from the first row. What can we expect from you?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to start from the first row, you know, but it's very important for us the points to be in front of Sacha. I think it's going to be difficult. Norbert is very, very fast. So even if I can be in front of him in the first corner, it's going to be too hard to keep him behind, you know. But I mean, I will try to keep the other ones behind. I'm happy with a second place.
Absolutely. How do you soak in the atmosphere on your home ground?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's a lot of fans, you know. So I have a lot of support, so I hope to give my best.
Absolutely. The president of the racetrack was here also.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So lots of pressure also, to be honest, Chaz.
Yeah, plenty of pressure indeed. There's a lot riding on Antonio's shoulders. He's going to be trying to do everything he can for his home fans here at Jarama. And again, look at the amazing atmosphere down there at the Farina hairpin. I'm just hearing that the truck of Mark Taylor is not on the grid at the moment, unfortunately. So hopefully we can get him there. Don't forget as well, on our live streams, if you're watching online, you can head over to the German or Spanish live streams. Fonzie Cebrian on the Spanish stream is actually commentating here on site as well this weekend. And my wonderful colleague Joachim Eberts is commentating back from Germany, but we wish him all the best and hope he is well. Here's our Ford F-Max on its inspection lap. I was delighted to be, well, not quite in the Ford F-Max this morning, but I joined the driver of our Ford F-Max, May, on the circuit. I was in the wonderful, wonderful machine towing the Krona e-trailer, which was taking its way around the circuit again. I've been trying to get into the Krona e-trailer with Trailer Dynamics all season, and it was a delight to finally get inside that machine. And I tell you what, it really does shift. Considering it had a trailer on the back of it as well, it was still at some ridiculous pace around this circuit, and the wonderful driver Abdullah was putting it through its paces as well. The trailer itself actually gets up to 800 horsepower at peak for up to 3 minutes. But this F-Max is one of two examples that we have in the championship. There's actually a white and black example here this weekend, rather than our usual orange and black one that is in the innovation camp within the paddock. But we have our gorgeous blue and white F-Max just completing the inspection lap now, just checking over the circuit, making sure everything is all good to go. And it's one final check and a great chance for us to show off this partnership with Ford Trucks, for which we are so, so grateful. There's Tony Albacete, who's just off the right of the shot there. That is Antonio's son, who races in a number of championships here in Spain. And he's a very, very talented racer indeed, much like Antonio. It's great to see Tony here, actually. I've not had a chance to have a chat with him yet, but he's been busy with a lot of the team's partners and VIPs and all sorts, and their hospitality, as ever, has been very strong at T-Sport Bernau. You can see Tim Frost there actually doing their vlog as well. Tim, much like myself, vlogs the race weekends and gives a great behind-the-scenes look at how it all goes from their perspective. And you can always expect some great banter from Tim and the guys. They're all a very, very good laugh. But you'll see now everybody making their way off the grid for this first race of the day. Race number 29 in the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. It's a 32-race season, 4 races per weekend. And they come thick and fast, I can tell you that. Very, very quickly indeed. Before you know it, we'll be on the 4th race of the weekend, and that'll be it at the end of the season. But we're not going to wish the time away. We're going to hope for some exciting racing to take us there and really paint the picture of this race weekend and of this championship as well. There's been a few times this season where we've seen Norbert Kish come under pressure at the start of a race from drivers joining him on the front row. He's very, very good at these race 1s and 3, is Norby, as we all know, with almost a 100% completion record, let's call it, for this season. He's almost won every race 1 and 3 as the season has gone on. But a couple of technical failures, one at the first race at Misano at the very start of the championship, and then one at Zolder as well, where the turbo failure put him trackside for the remainder. They have certainly shaken things up it's safe to say. He had a great challenge with Sasha Lenz at the front of the grid at Le Mans just last week as well. That was very entertaining. But he's certainly going to be up for a good fight here with his teammate alongside him. Antonio Albacete and Norbert Kish are teammates in this championship. As Revesh and T-Sport, they are now 2023 Teams Champions. So what a way to start their weekend with a front row start for the pair of them. They must be over the moon. There you can see some of the personnel ready to wave the green flag and get the weekend, in terms of the races themselves, underway. So what the drivers will do is make their way around the circuit now and do the green flag lap, which is basically to set them up for the rolling start. And now they go 2 by 2 around the circuit. And we'll go through the grid in just a moment's time. You can see the sunshine still bearing down on the circuit very, very heavily here at Jarama. It's been consistent sunshine all weekend. Not a single cloud in the sky here. It is gorgeous. Really, really gorgeous here. But the formation lap has the Iveco S-Way at the front of it, which is one of the many beautiful machines we have in our paddock. But this is how they all line up then. Norbert Kish and Antonio Albacete on the front row of the grid, the two teammates as mentioned. Jamie Anderson with his best ever qualifying performance, he told me, between that session and this. Jochen Hahn next up, 4th on the grid. He's going to be hoping to recuperate some points and positions there. Same with Sasha Lenz and Steffi Halm, both of them on that 3rd row of the grid. They should be really, really feisty into turn 1, those two. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez next up in 7th place with his father, Jose Rodriguez, alongside him. Great to see the two of them on track together for this round of the season. Andre Kurzim will start in 9th place. They had an engine swap yesterday, so they'll certainly be looking to make the most of that, with Louis Requenco on home soil making it through into Superpole. Next up was Heinrich Clemens-Hecker and Stefan Fast, the two German drivers, teammates as well in this championship, actually hoping to work together in this one, I'm sure, to bring home the points. John Newell will start 13th on the grid, ahead of Jonathan Andre. The French driver joins us again from the Lion Truck Racing team. And then Mark Taylor is designated as 15th on the grid, but unfortunately has not appeared on the circuit yet, I'm afraid. I'm not even sure if he's down at the end of the pit lane or anything. I haven't seen him make his way down there just yet. Now, some of you that have watched our broadcasts before will know of the almost tradition of the engineers all standing in the pit lane and getting ready to shout go when the when the drivers get underway and when the lights go out. Actually, located right next to the office that I'm in is right outside where their little box area is behind the pit wall. So they are merely 5 meters away from me, so I can see them very, very closely and be ready for when they shout go. It's a very cool thing to see. So right now, the bio-LNG-powered Iveco S-Way leads us around. Our glorious pace truck will complete its first duties of the weekend, leading our field. And we can get ready to go, everybody, because round 29 of the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship from Jarama is underway. I can literally hear the shout of go out the window. They rumble past the media centre and the entire thing shakes as the field makes its way down towards turn 1. It looks like an even start between Norby and Antonio. Antonio on the outside line, hard on the brakes into turn 1. Mark Taylor gets underway from the end of the pit lane. That's great to see. He makes his way out onto the circuit. And it seems, there's big drama. There's 2 trucks around, 3 trucks around in the middle of the field, and it looks like that is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. And is that Jochen Hahn? Is that Jochen Hahn in there with him? No, it's Steffi Halm. Steffi Halm has been turned around down at turn 1. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez wedged into the back of her truck, and I believe that will be a red flag if they cannot get moving under their own power. Yellow flags are waved, and no, more drama. More drama there down at the hairpin. Sasha Lenz is completely around. Is that Jamie Anderson involved as well? Goodness me, nobody wants these races or sessions to last this weekend. There's a big, big drama there. I believe it's Jamie Anderson that's in there. I couldn't quite see the other truck that was involved. Rodriguez has gone through. Sasha Lenz has definitely not. Louis Requenco's gone through as well. Oh, it was Stefan Fast that got involved in that one. Stefan Fast down there, and Jamie Anderson and Sasha Lenz, teammates, both involved in that accident. But Norbert Kiss, Jochen Hahn, Albacete, and Jose Rodriguez made it through. But the red flag is out again. Well, we made it just a couple of corners this time, but the red flag is out, and we've had multiple collisions. Steffi Helm and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez down at turn 1. There's damage there to Jonathan Andre's truck, the water tank spewing out the side. And Mark Taylor, well, he's made it onto the circuit, and he'll be wondering when his luck changed, really, with the fact that he's got nobody in front of him, really. Loads of trucks off at the side of the road. That looked like one of them just getting going there as the bodywork spews across the circuit. I believe that was out of turn 1. Unfortunately, we lost a bit of power to part of the circuit, so the camera down at turn 2 and turn 3 lost power, so hopefully we can get that back. But there was big drama yet again there. Andre Kurtzim has a little bit of damage to the front of his truck as well. There's a lot of anticipation here on the pit wall. I can see everybody on the pit wall waiting to see them come back. But you can see Jose Rodriguez has a bit of damage on his truck as well. Antonio Albacete's truck seems fine. He and Norby were clear of it all by the look of it. It was behind them that it all kicked off. Jochen Hahn has got through completely unscathed by the look of it. Jose Rodriguez with a bit of damage. Louis Requenco's truck seems fine. And it seems like already Jose Eduardo and Steffi have managed to move away, which is good news, because I was worried the two of them were sort of locked together, and it would have been a huge recovery job to figure all of that out. Hats off to the marshals for getting that cleared up as quickly as they can. There is the damage to Jonathan Andre's truck. I believe it's just a water tank. Yeah, you can see on the right-hand side the body has been hit by something, and the water tank is spewing out against the bodywork. I'm just waiting to see it come past my window, actually, see if I can get a closer look of it. Where the white and black tyre barrier was just there. I'm basically at the end of that, where the flag marshals are. Clemens Hecker's truck seems fine by the look of it, looking out the window. I'll see whether they tell Jonathan Andre to head into the pit lane. It's getting a lot of attention. Yeah, he is. Oh, wow, he's taken a massive hit in the right-hand side, actually. We didn't quite get the angle of the bodywork that had been hit, but boy, oh boy, it's almost been completely folded in half on the right-hand side. There's Steffi making her way around the circuit, over the crest of the hill, down towards the latter stages of the lap. But that is a massive, massive shame. I'm not sure what the damage is to Steffi's truck other than cosmetic. Hopefully nothing major, but she's, yeah, you can see there just testing the steering, making sure that she can at least give it full lock left and right, make sure the truck doesn't completely sort of fail on her. Just a quick test. I'm just going to see out my window if she goes past the start-finish line as well and forms up properly on the grid, or whether she did last minute turn into the pits. No, she's going towards the grid, I can tell you. There's Jose Eduardo Rodriguez looking to try and take the Promoters' Cup title in this race. I'm not sure whether he was a bit too hot into turn 1, whether somebody turned across, or whether there was a big check-up, but turn 1 is very difficult here at Jarama. And it seems like somewhere things didn't quite add up for everybody as they made their way into the first couple of corners. And now the clean-up operation begins down there at turns 1 and 2. The first couple of corners covered in debris and all sorts. But again, hats off to the marshals for cleaning that up as quickly as they have. You can see that none of the pieces in truck racing are very small at all. Not quite sure what the drama was down at turn 3, but all of a sudden it was Sasha Lenz that was turned around, did a complete 180, and then ended up backwards in the barriers. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez there making his way back to the grid. And the gentleman there shrugging away as if to say, what is going on? It's been one of those days, it seems. Nothing quite going quite to plan, it seems. But this happens in motorsport. You know, these things don't always go to plan. It's a tricky business sometimes. There's body panels from trucks being passed through the pit wall there, and all sorts being done. I imagine the guys at the very front will be thinking, well, why? Why have we stopped? What's gone on? They wouldn't have seen much of what happened behind them. Hopefully we can get some sort of look back at it or some sort of second angle to see what exactly went on. But it seemed like, looking at the grid, actually, I'm going to just we have a printout of the grid which shows what side of the grid everybody is on. And Jamie Anderson and Sasha Lenz are on the same side. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez would have started on the right-hand side of the grid, and Steffi Halm would have been just in front on the left-hand side of the grid. So I'm not sure if Jose Eduardo's just gone in too hard, made it 3 wide or something, and then clipped Steffi, and everybody's got away with that. But Stefan Fass, I think, was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I think the accident actually happened in front of him between Jamie and Sasha, and then all of a sudden he's just had to go into the gravel in avoidance and hasn't had anywhere to go. I don't necessarily think he was involved in the contact or anything of the incident. But I think we should be okay. I've just heard from Steve Miller as well. Thanks as always to Steve for more and more info. The truck might be okay. Christina's going to have a quick word with Jochen though and see whether he picked up anything from that.
Yeah, absolutely. The heat is on. So Jochen, what happened?
I don't know. I hear something. I look in the mirror and think, okay, now I can go. So that's it. No more. I don't know.
You need to be patient this weekend.
Yeah, the start every time it's tricky, and you can only lose the race in the first corner, not win. So from this side, careful, take care. But I hear it and I look. Oh, okay, I go.
Meep meep sounds like Roadrunner, to be honest. So be patient, everyone. We're going to have a race.
Yeah, eventually we will get back to full racing pace. But there you see the disco truck, as it was dubbed earlier on today, making its way out onto the track. I'm not quite sure. I think that's just going to be for recovery, actually. I was going to say they're not going to be cleaning up with that thing. Either that or there's about 40 people in the back of it ready to suddenly pop out and start a cleaning operation. But yeah, I believe there will be some on there. We're going to have a look back at what happened, I believe, down at turn 1, so we can start to piece this together at least and see who did what where. So you can see Jose Eduardo was on the inside. Oh, John Newell gets a massive hit as well. I think that's where the damage came from for Jonathan Andre, actually. You can see Jose Eduardo tries to get going again, and well, Steffi's truck is already there, so he's not going to be able to get away and get past. But clearly, there was some mishap somewhere in the middle of the pack. I think maybe they were almost 3 wide. Steffi Halm was actually back on the grid, and she's with Christina. Let's see what went on.
Yes, absolutely. How did you manage to stay out of trouble?
No, I think I was directly in the middle because I also spin in the first corner. I had a good start. I was able to go in front of Sasha. Had a little bit of problems with overheating brakes in the front. So I had a little touch with Jamie. But after, I didn't know exactly what happened because I don't know why I spinned. Yeah, I will watch it after in the video, but at the moment I'm just happy that the truck is okay and we can restart on the normal position.
Yeah, that's what I meant, because it seems like you have less damage, so you can restart again.
Yeah, I think the only thing which is not completely correct is the plastic stuff, so should be okay.
So is it the heat, the tension, because this is the final weekend, and also the heating of the weather, or what is going on in this weekend?
Yeah, it's always special. The last race weekend of the season, some of us are fighting for the positions in the overall championship instead of me. And yeah, for sure, the heat is for everybody the same. It's really, really hot. And the worst what can be is a red flag. And today we had enough of red flags. So I hope after, when we have the restart, we can go for the race and have it clear.
We hope so too. Thank you very much. So please, no more red flags today.
Yeah, I think everybody here in the media centre will be praying for the same as well. We've had the number 38 machine requested to leave the circuit. Not quite sure whether that's down to technical infringements or whether there was some damage to the truck after that incident that means that he needs to get back into the paddock and get it fixed and isn't fit to race, or whether they've decided that he caused the incident. And there, look at that, the framework completely bent there on the front of Steffi Halm's machine. well, not necessarily the framework, it's just the bumper bar at the front. That's used to sort of protect the main structure of the vehicle underneath. They do get bent quite a lot over the course of a season, but they get a lot of replacements for those as part of the whole competition, let's say. But yeah, very busy start to the race there. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez off the circuit. They believe that Jamie Anderson may have some trouble after that incident as well, so that'll harm his championship fight up there for that 5th position. It's not confirmed yet whether Jamie will retire. We'll have to wait for more information on that as it comes in. But the drivers at the front will be really happy with that in a way, because, I mean, it's given them a reset button, of course, but still, they stayed out of trouble in all of that, where just about everyone else was involved. John Newell is back on the grid, I believe, as well, after a massive hit. We're going to have a look at some of our finest pictures from qualifying while we just fill a bit of time here in terms of waiting for this restart. There's a little bit for them to piece together. But as qualifying went on earlier on today, it was another day in the office for Norbert Kiss, where he took pole position and a fantastic job in Super Pole to extend that gap even to about 1.4 seconds. It was a real solid time. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez had a great start to qualifying as well, going 3rd fastest in the first part of the session, but eventually he would end up in 7th place when Super Pole came around. There was a couple of times deleted. Jose Rodriguez lost a time or two, I believe, also as well in the early stages. Heinrich Clementeca had a lap deleted for the penalty markers, but everybody was trying whatever they could to keep up with Norby, and Jochen Hahn was so close between Jamie Anderson and Sasha Lenz. The 3 of them only separated by 48 thousandths of a second. It was remarkably close. But everybody was doing what they could around this very tricky circuit. It's been a real attritional one already so far this weekend. And there's been a lot of times where components have broken. The curbs and the elevation here, a very unique challenge for all the drivers. And we've seen some real attrition from that, as mentioned. Norbert Kiss will still start from pole position with Antonio Albacete on home soil alongside him on the front row. Louis Requenco will start 10th as well, and he's on home soil. Certainly happy about how it's going. We're going to go back down to Christina on the grid, who I believe might have another interview for us.
Yeah, less interview, but I had my ears out here, and I heard someone from the team of Jamie Anderson saying they had a spring break, not obviously the holidays, but the spring broke, and they were trying to fix that. And the other Portuguese truck, they were trying to fix it too, but there are more parts missing on the side of the truck, which should be more difficult to get them fixed up. But both teams are trying very hard.
Thank you, Christina. And yeah, this is far from as relaxing as spring break. I can tell you that for free. This is certainly a tense time for the teams. I've been told that there's a 10-second penalty being given to number 24, Stefan Fast, for causing a collision. So I'm not sure if he had any part to play down at the start of the lap, or whether it was down to it may be down to the turn 3 incident, whether he just pushed another truck into another, and that's why Sasha Lenz and Jamie Anderson started to make contact and end up in the gravel. But still, there's a very busy buzz all of a sudden here in the media centre around me as well. I'm in a small booth in the corner of said media centre with quite a lot of sound dampening and so on, but doesn't always get rid of everything. So apologies if there's any chatter in the background that you can hear coming from this area. But still, it is remarkably busy here at Jarama. There is constantly people around. It's awesome to see, and such great attention for this championship and the entire event. Everybody really has embraced it so strongly. The sun is actually starting to go down rather quickly here in Spain, though, I can tell you, because the whole day basically ends up with complete sunshine over the pit lane throughout the day. There is never anywhere to hide in the pit lane unless you're actually in one of the garages. But at the moment, there's a big amount of shade heading over that way, and it's starting to stretch across the start-finish straight. So I'm intrigued to see how dark it'll be by the time we even get to our second race a little bit later on. It's amazing that it's going to be so quick-fire in these later stages. But that's what keeps it exciting at the end of the day. This is what happens. Truck racing is never sleeping, I can tell you. We just wait a few more minutes now, just for further information. Been told that potentially Sasha Lenz will continue to compete, which is good news for them, because they've had a very tough day so far, to say the least. Far from what they would have wanted at this point. So looking at the grid then, I believe we won't have Jose Eduardo Rodriguez starting from 7th. Don't think we'll have Jonathan Andre from 14th place. I believe John Newell went back to the grid as well, but he had a big hit and the truck was up in the air down at turn 1. We won't have Jamie Anderson, I don't think, who would have started from 3rd position on the grid. So that gives Sasha Lenz a clean run down to the first corner. It looks to me like Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is actually back there again. He's just pulled up in the pit lane. So maybe it was just requested that he goes back into the paddock to get the truck repaired. And he will be back at the back of the grid for the formation lap, it seems. Can't quite see exactly what's happened to the front of it from here, but it looked like, for a little bit, there was a lot of filler and white body panels on the front of that truck to fix it up. Now, the second race of the day was due to start at 25 past 5 after the delays that we had earlier on. The formation lap was due to start 25 past 5 local time, but it's going to be at least an hour of that now, so we're going to be looking at maybe a later start for each and every event to come after this. I mean, there's a couple of other racing series here this weekend that won't have too much of an impact with it. The Spanish Truck Racing Championship also takes place on this same weekend, so the fans are never short of truck racing action, but the real cream of the crop, the crown jewel, of course, being the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Everybody in this series and their machines so beautifully presented. It really is a great advert for truck racing. And obviously, we do things in a very sustainable manner here as well. The series itself has made the commitment to be carbon neutral by 2038 at the latest. And with part of that, we have our bio-LNG powered Iveco S-Way. And Iveco always on our grids. Iveco, a fantastic partner of the championship and heavy involvement as well with this pace truck. Our beloved Frank will be driving the machine once again. And you can always see these bio-LNG machines on the road now with their huge bio-LNG tanks down the side. It certainly gives them a distinct look. John Newell is there on the grid, which is lovely to see. After that big contact he had before, he's still been able to get back out there. Christina has messaged me, thank you very much, Christina, saying that Jose Eduardo's truck has been covered in orange duct tape to try and fix it. See it there you see. Now that front right wing, I believe, is from, well, it's one of the spares from his father's truck, I believe. Not quite sure. Apparently no further action taken on the incident at the first corner between himself and Steffi Halm. So clearly just a racing incident. Somebody going in too hot, just a bit of a squeeze down at turn 1, and that was that. It's easy to do here at Jarama. Like we've said, it's not a very wide circuit at all. They now head down towards Portago, the hairpin at the far end of the track, and look at Frank go in the Iveco S-Way, really chucking it in. He really throws that truck around. He certainly enjoys himself out there, does Frank? And he's a lovely human being off the circuit as well. Great bloke. It's a pleasure to work with the people of this championship. They always put a smile on your face. And the racing is always top-notch as well. We're going to get back up to full speed shortly. It's nice to see Sasha Lenz has made it back to the grid. Jamie Anderson, unfortunately, is not there. So we'll have to try and piece together what happened at some point. This is going to be a busy race for our drivers here. It's still going to be the teammates, Norbert Kish and Antonio Albacete on the front row. Jochen Hahn will line up on the second row, now effectively inheriting third position, giving fourth and fifth to Sasha Lenz and Steffi Halm, both involved in incidents in the first lap, both back on the grid. Then we have Jose Eduardo Rodriguez starting from the back. Jose Rodriguez will still start on the fourth row. Andre Kurzim and Louis Requenco both stayed out of trouble for row 5. Then it's going to be Heinrich Clementecker, and I believe Stefan Faas is back there. He is, yes. Then we'll have John Newell, no Jonathan Andre in this one, and Mark Taylor to start at the back of the grid. As mentioned, with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez joining him, hoping to push through. And all he needs to do here is basically finish in front of Stefan Faas to be declared Promoters' Cup champion. Everybody holds on the brakes, the red lights come on, And round 29 of the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship gets underway. And there's already some shuffling off the start line, moving around, just trying to get whatever position they can. You can see that Jochen Hahn used the advantage of having that empty gap down the inside to take the inside line into turn one. There's a bit more of a bump and a bit of a squeeze, a bit more contact there. They're 3 wide in the middle of the circuit as well. I think Jose Rodriguez down the inside of Stefan Fass. Hopefully no contact on the exit. Andre Kurzim's on the outside. They're still 3 wide as they go into the right-hander down there at Varzy. Have they made it through, though? We've got pictures back again at turns 2 and 3. Let's see behind if they've all made it through. They somehow have. Sasha Lenz was sandwiched in the middle, but it's Norbert Kish, Antonio Albacete, Jochen Hahn, Steffi Halm at the moment, and then the battles behind. Well, just out of our picture, unfortunately, but great scrapping by all of the drivers behind. But Norbert Kish makes a very clean start yet again to lead the way. Over the crest of the hill he goes, down towards Ascari, the right-hander, then into the left at Portago. Seems like everybody behind got away with that as well, without any major damage. Sasha Lenz still running there, a little bit sideways. That panel has been cleared to race on that left-hand side of his truck, so despite the contact earlier on, it's still been said that he's fine to run with it like that. Everybody doing a really good job that time round to keep it nice and clean. Still great battling all the same, though, so there was a lot of progress. Just looking at the grid in terms of who made moves and where. Rodriguez has got past Newell and Taylor. It is now right behind Heinrich Clementeca. There's Jochen Hahn, 3rd position at the moment. He'll be pleased not to have had Jamie Anderson alongside him at the start of that one. That gives him a free position in this race compared to his qualifying position. And I think we can see there Stefan Fass and Louis Requenco close together. Yes, Fass has got 2 trucks between himself and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. That could at least extend how long the Promoters Cup Championship fight has a question mark over it. As our trucks run wide, John Newell wide out of the final corner there, just over the gravel on the outside. To be fair, they've got a good bit of leeway there before it gets really dusty on the outside of the circuit. Jochen Hahn trying to put a move on Antonio Albacete. It looked like actually Jose Eduardo Rodriguez was trying to make a move on Heinrich Clementeca a bit further back. He's not quite made it work this time round. And he's now fallen slightly into the clutches of John Newell. There's Stefan Fass leading the Promoters Cup at the moment. The Promoters Cup drive is denoted by the little letter P next to their race number on their position. There's the battle for 2nd place. Antonio on home soil in front of Jochen Hahn, 2 real legends of the sport, battling one another for 2nd and 3rd places. I know the Spanish fans would love to see Antonio at least beat Jochen in this race. Antonio said himself earlier on, and so did Jochen, that they would be happy with 2nd place. And no, not again. Not again. Mark Taylor off at the side of the road. This is not the weekend they want. Mark Taylor off at the side of the track. And I believe that is in a position that will cause another red flag, I'm afraid. I hate to be negative about it, but I don't think that they will allow the race to go on there with that there, unless they just cover it with double waved yellows. Just say that there's no overtaking. I'm not sure. We'll have to see, because it's on the exit of the corner, which isn't so bad. I mean, if it was on the way into the corner and off the on the racing line on the brakes, then yeah, surely they would put a red flag out. We'll have to wait and see. Apparently there was a truck off at turn 3 that has since continued, and I believe that was John Newell. He's had a slow first sector, so I'm not quite sure what's gone on between them there, because it seems like potentially separate incidents. Norbert Kish still leads. Antonio Albacete 3.2 seconds back, then Jochen Hahn just behind him. Steffi Halm and Sasha Lenz having a little bit of a battle there for 4th position and 5th. And then Jose Rodriguez currently runs in 6th place, just ahead of Andre Kurzim. I'll try and do some quick maths as time goes on and give you the points as to where they are at the moment in terms of their current finishing positions if things don't change, but we'll have to wait and see. Jochen Hahn chasing down Antonio Albacete, who has the full support of his fans, as you can tell. At the moment, Albacete would move 5 points ahead of Sasha Lenz in the championship. because Antonio finishing in second place would score 15 points, and Sasha finishing in 5th place actually would score just 8. So Antonio would eat up the 2-point advantage that Sasha has and then move 5 points ahead. In terms of Steffi Halm, who's currently in 4th place, she would score 10 points. Andre Kurzim in 7th place would score 4. That would mean Steffi extends her advantage to 12 points over Andre and the Don't Touch Racing team. So Jochen Hahn continues the chase, running after the home hero, Antonio Albacete. I spoke to Antonio briefly between qualifying and race 1, and he said he was very, very happy with the time that he put in. He said it's very important to be on the front row of the grid here for the Spanish fans. He was over the moon with his performance. Around the final corner they go, down, start, finish straight. Fantastic sight and sound here. They roar and screech their way round. Look at the field fanning out slightly. Now, for those of you that haven't seen much truck racing before, they won't follow each other in the slipstream because they are limited to 100 miles an hour, or they're governed to 100 miles an hour or 160 Ks. So all you're doing by sitting behind the truck in front of you, other than risking overspeeding by a little bit of slipstream that you might get, you're actually just heating up your truck, if anything, because you're just filling it with more and more hot air. It looked like there was another truck trackside there, or was that Mark Taylor? I believe it was Mark Taylor at the side of the road. Not sure if he could get underway for a moment, but it seemed like he was a lot further down the road than he was before. I'm not sure if it was just a camera angle playing tricks on us, but this is the lead battle in the Promoters Cup. Stefan Faas right now ahead of Louis Requenco. So far this season, Stefan has had only four wins actually in the category. To Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is 13, but he's been on the podium 19 times. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez has been on the podium 22 times in the Promoters Cup. But Stefan has been really, really consistent with his point scoring, which has kept him in the fight. But unfortunately, as things stand at the moment, he's not going to be able to put up enough of a fight, I don't think, to stop Jose Eduardo. He's currently running 4th in class, so Stefan will gain 10 points on him. The gap will come down to 29. But after this race, there will only be 40 points available. It's all very, very close, isn't it? Another reminder that all of our racing trucks run on 100% renewable HVO diesel. It's all very green and clean here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. It is a joy to know that all of the racing we do is so environmentally friendly compared to previous years. It's great to see that the championship makes these steps in sustainability to ensure that the motorsport itself can carry on in its truest form, and it can carry on for a long time to come as well, as like we say, it's 100% renewable, and it's a delight to be able to run these machines on it, and it doesn't require any or much adaptation from the teams and their engineers. You can see that Mark Taylor is trying to carry on there, but he's just going to get to a gravel trap in a moment, I believe. He's tried to move it a bit further down the circuit, and hopefully once the field goes through, he'll be all right to carry on. He's got John Newell just going through the first corner now, and I think once he knows that John's gone by, the field is complete and he can carry on. So hopefully that will mean that we don't have to keep that covered with a yellow flag or anything else. You can see now the field snaking their way through the hairpins and then back up the hill once again. Look at the sight there of all the fans on the banks with their air horns blaring away, loving the racing. Antonio climbing over the curbs there through Escari, the right-hander. And there's Sasha Lenz ahead of Steffi Halm now. He's made his way up into 4th position and gained himself just a couple more points for the championship. Oh, so important for Sasha this weekend that he does that. That means that Steffi will now score 8 points in the standings and still be 10 ahead of Andre Kurzim, who finds himself in 7th, scoring 4 points. Norby is on his way to another 20 points. That would mean 20 race wins in this season, which would be remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. Almost unheard of. I think he's already broken the record for the most amount of wins. I think it was actually Norby that won 19 races in 2015. This would be the 20th of them. Jochen was really pushing the limits there of the edge of the circuit. Really trying everything he can to keep up with Antonio in front of him. Antonio Albacete knows this circuit like the back of his hand. Very, very good here. And the T-Sport Bernau guys work hard to continually give Antonio a truck that behaves how he wants it to and gives him the performance that he wants. Mark Taylor's still there on the outside of the left-hander, unfortunately. Sorry, the right-hander. And apparently it's been told that Mark must just leave it there. It's basically in too dangerous a place for him to continue to try and move it in case it can't then move far enough under its own power and it goes into a more precarious position. So he's been told that's that, I'm afraid. Although, no, I think he is moving it, actually. I think it's just got an intermittent power failure or something, because it seems like it won't go at all, and then all of a sudden it's fine. Again, Antonio all over the curbs there through the right-hander. Jochen Hahn chasing him down. It's a classic battle between these two. Sasha Lenz flapping around as much advertising as he can. Steffi Hahn with the damage from the earlier incident. Still doing really well in 5th position, considering how damaging that incident looked earlier on when we first saw it. She's doing a really solid job. Jose Rodriguez running well in 6th position as well, ahead of Andrei Kursim. And then comes the Promoters' Cup battle. Stefan Faas ahead of Louis Requenco, then Heinrich Clementeca, then Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and John Newell. I'm told that Mark Taylor is now up to speed and has got moving again. I'm pretty sure that he will just bring it back into the paddock and try and get it repaired. Because I think he would cause more of a risk to his own truck and his own weekend if he tried to carry on at full pelt. He doesn't quite know what the issue is just by driving the machine underneath him. And here is the field filtering through once again. Stefan Faas actually opened up a little bit of a gap there over Louis Requenco in the Promoters' Cup fight. Louis, a new winner in the championship after taking his first ever win at Le Mans last time out. Oh, Sasha Lenz looked like he went a little bit hot into turn 1 there. And then Stefan Faas leading this queue of trucks yet again. He's got his teammate Clemens Hecker in there as well. Clemens had some wonderful things to say about my commentary earlier in the week, which I'm very grateful for. We don't often speak that much in the paddock, actually, do Clemens and I. It was great to catch up with him and see Bernard Moritz as well, the French photographer. But just great people again in this championship. I always talk about it, I know, but it really is heartwarming to see the fantastic people behind this and knowing what the drivers are like as well and how great they are with the camaraderie off the circuit. To see them all racing so closely together in front of a massive crowd must be really rewarding for them. They must be very pleased to see such a great amount of fans out here at Jarama for the final race meeting of the season. So the ticker in the top left, as I will remind you, tells us how many laps have been completed. So we are now on lap 7 out of this race, out of the 12 planned. It's good to see as well that we still had the full race length run, or touch wood, we have for now anyway. It's planned that we will still have the full distance. Now Jamie Anderson's name has appeared at the bottom of the timing screen. Not quite sure whether that's just because it's sort of confirmed that he's out and will not be lapping again, but I'm going to keep my eye on said timing screen. Just to see if he completes any sectors, basically, see if he has got moving for some reason. And then it could be like a live test for him, I suppose, get the truck out on track and just make sure that it still moves. But it depends if he's classified as retiring from the race. It may just be the case that he's been added to the timing screen because they knew that he would have been part of the race if not. Mark Taylor has just crawled past my window into the pit lane, and there is Jamie Anderson. He is on track. So yeah, Jamie using this as a live testing session. You can see sort of soaring away at the steering wheel a little bit on the exit of the corner just to see if he can get the back end to kick out, maybe just see if there's any damage that he can pick up on by just driving the truck very, very hard. There's John Newell. John having an off a little bit earlier, unfortunately, and contact in the earlier stage of the race. He's certainly having a rough time of it again, is John. He's not got much luck on his side at the moment, and neither has Mark Taylor. So the two British drivers that are fighting for a position in the Promoters' Cup fighting for third place. Certainly not having the best of days with it. But John, at this point, will open up a slight gap over Mark Taylor, because Taylor will get 0 points from this race by being where he is in the pit lane, unfortunately. And John, at the moment, will still be classified in the Promoters' Cup as 5th place. That will give him 8 points. So that'll move him 17 ahead of Mark Taylor with 3 races left of the campaign. These 4 absolutely glued together still. I'm not sure if it's the damage from earlier on that's affecting Jose Eduardo Rodriguez's pace, but he's still doing very, very well, but just not able to overtake the guys in front of him. Like I've mentioned, 40 points available in the championship after this race. 20 points maximum for winning race 3 of the weekend. And then races 2 and 4 of the weekend only offer 10 points each if you win them, and that applies to both classes. That's the Titan class and the Chrome class. Chrome, of course, being responsible for the Promoters' Cup. So, at the moment, as it stands, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez would not be confirmed as champion. The gap would go down from 39 points to 29. So another twist in the standings. I know there was a number of those that were expecting him to take the title in this first race based on the usual form, but it seems like the tides have turned a little bit here, and he's going to have to work a little bit harder for it come the later stage of the day. I say the later stage like it's not already 10 past 5 in the afternoon here. We're on lap 9 out of 12 at Jarama, and these 4 trucks are still glued together. Stefan Faas ahead of Louis Requenco, racing, of course, in Lucas Hahn's truck, son of Jochen Hahn. And then Heinrich Clemens-Hecker, and then Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. John Newell, about 9 seconds off these guys. And then Mark Taylor back out on the circuit. So there you go. Some points potentially, Mark. We'll have to see. He can use this again as a live test session. I mean, he may be 5 laps down, but he'll still be classified in 6th place in class. So that would mean that he only loses 2 points to John Newell in the Promoters' Cup instead of 10. So hats off. Sorry, instead of 8, I should say, not 10. At the end of the day, these drivers are so determined to make sure they get as much track time as they can and keep on going and secure those championship points this late on. Jamie Anderson will not get any points from the overall championship, unfortunately, but it's just, again, more track time to make sure that the truck is behaving as intended and that there's nothing broken and nothing completely destroyed in the long run. Jose Rodriguez there ahead of Andre Kursim, 6th and 7th on the road at the moment. Andre with no bodywork on the front of that truck. He's clearly had a bit of a rough time of it so far through. Stefan Faas looks quite confident with this gap ahead, doesn't he? He's got a bit of a gap back to Louis Requenco. Speaking of a bit of a gap back, Norbert Kish still leading the way at the front of the field, doing an excellent job as ever as he heads on to lap 10 out of 12. Currently on his way to win his 20th, yes, really, 20th out of 20. This is the 29th race, I may add. 20 out of 29 races this season he would have won if he completes this one at the very front. Antonio Albacete has not been able to shake Jochen Hahn here. They're still fighting over second position, and it is lovely to see it. The top 3 drivers in the field have 14 championship titles between them. And there's a view out of the Farina hairpin. I believe we've lost electricity again down there at the Le Mans and Farina hairpins, unfortunately. The connection to it has not shone through, it seems. So hopefully they can get that sorted for a bit later on. You can hear the music blaring down there as well at that part of the circuit. They have a concert going on later on tonight. A massive stage that's been built overnight yesterday evening. And they know how to put on a party down here in Spain, I can tell you. They have an AC/DC tribute band that is playing later on, which will always be a joy to watch. It's always good fun. There is John Newell bringing up the rear at the moment of the trucks that, well, we're running all the way through without incident, I should say. And Jamie Anderson now just using this live test session. Get some more data from the truck and just get the behaviour of how it is. Sasha Lenz makes his way back up the hill. Started to open up more of a gap over Steffi Halm. Norbert Kish, well, I mean, listen to Baloo roar. Sounding incredible out of the final corner, down the start-finish straight. see how long the shadows have got and how late we are in the day here in Spain. And still another race left to go. It almost feels like the last race of the weekend already, this one. It's been a long weekend so far. But still, great entertainment, all run on 100% renewable HVO diesel as well. So what could be better? It's environmentally friendly racing that's very sustainable, and it's great entertainment all the same. Two legends of the sport glued to each other here on our screens. Antonio Albacete, number 23 for T-Sport Burnout, ahead of Jochen Hahn, 6-time champion, in truck number 2 in the Iveco for Team Hahn Racing. There, Andre Kurzim still trying to chase down the truck in front as potential lead change here in the Promoters' Cup. Has Stefan Fast let it slip in these final few laps? Louis Requenco is going to try it down the inside of Varzi. Is it going to work for him? I'm not sure it will. Stefan Fast running wide slightly as they come into the Le Mans hairpin. Everybody's going to go absolutely crazy on this bank where our camera's located if he makes that work. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez sends it up the inside into the side of Heinrich Clementeca. Those two make contact. Now they're going to be side by side in front as well. Stefan Fast is going to cut across. Louis Requenco tries it. They're 2 by 2. And Jose Eduardo Rodriguez pulls off a fantastic move around the outside of the Farina hairpin. What a great bit of driving that was. Opportunistic as ever. Sure, there was contact with Clementeca that kept him on the circuit, but wow, he was opportunistic there in the second part. Stefan Fast is going to see that and think, oh, dearie me, that's not ideal at all, because that now puts Jose Eduardo Rodriguez second in the class in this race, which gives him 5 more points in terms of his position. He would now lead the championship by 34 points over Stefan Fast, and with 40 available, it's still to play for. But Stefan would need a blinder of a weekend from this point onwards. We've got one more lap in the books after this, I believe. Unsure of whether Norby's crossed the line yet. I think he's just gone past my window now, actually. So, yeah, we should be on to the final lap as no, Heinrich Clementeca straight on. Oh, he's managed to keep that out of the gravel. How on earth did he stop that? He's probably bent the brake pedal and popped the brake lines. He slammed on that hard there. Wow. Goodness me. Heinrich Clementeca gives himself whiplash trying to stop for the chicane, or the hairpin, I should say. It's always a shame when I get a joke wrong, isn't it? Still, this Promoters' Cup battle has yet again been very enticing. Not as much contact at Le Mans, which is nice to see, but wow, they've certainly kept it feisty. Stefan Fast moves to the right-hand side. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez on his left, trying to go around the outside into turn 1. Now, if he can stick around the outside there and then into turn 2, he can get down the inside into turn 3, because the line changes over. Let's see what they can do. They both dive down onto the brakes almost identically. Can Louis Requenco use the inside line to try and get an advantage as well? Jose Eduardo tries to squeeze down the outside line, but no, that doesn't work for him. Now get ready for him to send it down the inside here, because he did it on the previous lap to Clementeca. I think he's going to do it again here, because they have the initial braking zone. He's not actually going to do it. He's going to try and go for a cutback. He's going to go around the outside of this first hairpin. If he can just stay there, he'll be down the inside for the next one. Doesn't work. Stefan Fast manages to just crowd him out enough. Louis Requenco wants a piece of it. Jose Eduardo gets a great run down the right-hand side, though, into the side of Stefan Fast. He kicks it sideways, one way, then the other. Fishtailing on the exit. Louis Requenco goes back down the inside. The crowd goes absolutely bonkers. He runs slightly wide into him as they go up the crest of the hill, and Heinrich Clementeca's there to try and take some positions away. This is incredible racing for the Promoters' Cup yet again. Supreme entertainment, and all of a sudden, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez ends up back where he was, and he's sideways over the curbs. No, he's lost those points, and that means Stefan Fast is now going to gain 10 points on him in the championship again. It goes back from being a 39-point advantage to being a 29-point advantage. Sorry, 34 to 29. I'll get my maths right one day. One maths that I can tell you, one maths, great English, Chaz, is that Norbert Kirsch, if I can get his name right, takes the win, number 20 of the season for Norby. Great drive yet again from the front of the grid. Excellent performance, and Antonio Albacete holds on to second place ahead of Jochen Hahn. Boy, these guys keep me busy, don't they? Sasha Lenz next up ahead of Steffi Halm. Important points there for Sasha. Oh, there's a lot of dust there. I really hope there hasn't been an incident. It's not over yet, let's not forget that. It's not completed, but it looks like it's going to be Stefan Fast that's going to take it ahead of Louis Requenco and then Heinrich Clementeca. Again, hands together, everybody, for the massive entertainment given to us by the Promoters' Cup here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And now I'm going to have a drink. What racing. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez was next up, with John Newell just closing in. Jamie Anderson and Mark Taylor swapping around actually near the end. I think Jamie Anderson was still on the circuit. I think Mark actually came into the pit lane again. Oh no, I've just realised, to not forget, Stefan Faas earlier on got a 10-second penalty, didn't he? Goodness me. So it'll be Requenco from Hecker from Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. So that would put, let me do the maths here, everybody. Sorry about this. Clemens Hecker would get 15 points. Requenco would get 20. Jose Eduardo would get 12. And then Stefan Faas, yeah, he'd get less than that. He'd get 10 points. So that would mean that your 2023 Promoters Cup champion will be Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Unbelievable stuff. The penalty was given out that early on. I completely forgot about it. I do apologise. But what a great run at the front of the field that was yet again for Norbert Kirsch. Antonio Albacete. Well, he certainly put on a good show for his fans there, didn't he? And Jochen Hahn was trying very hard all the way to the end there to try and overtake him. Didn't quite get the job done in the end. That is amazing. They will make their way back around now into the pit lane. The top three will make their way straight into the paddock on the right-hand side. As soon as they get in, the rest of the trucks will head all the way down and then into the paddock from the back end of there. But wow. Another supremely entertaining race from the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championships, because I'm sure you'll all agree. And, well, we've mentioned these wonderful people, haven't we? It's some of Antonio Albacete's greatest fans who bring chainsaws to the circuit, without the blades on, obviously. And they rev them in the grandstands. It's their own very interesting version of having an air horn with them. I mean, it's not going to cost them a fortune in fuel over the course of the weekend, is it? But it's fantastic entertainment. Certainly something unique at a racetrack that you don't see at many places in the world. Incredible accuracy yet again from Norbert Kirsch, who takes his 20th race win of the season. Antonio Albacete, second place. He'll be over the moon with that one in front of his home crowd. And then Jochen Hahn, I'm sure, despite them not having a very physical battle on track where they kept changing positions, I'm sure that Jochen will be very, very pleased to have been fighting his old sparring partner, Antonio Albacete. It's very, very busy down there on the banks. And don't forget, everybody, that's not our last racing action of the day. We still have another race to come later on. It's crazy, isn't it? It's great entertainment, but certainly looking forward to having another one of those. More, please. There's Norby and the team. Delighted to get that 20th win. Such an important milestone in a championship. Just remarkable. The form this year by Norby and everyone else is a joy to witness, and we should all be very, very thankful to see such an amazing, dominant performance in motorsport. And he has a good chat there with Chababacco, and very, very positive and happy scenes from them down there in the paddock in the gorgeous Japanese? No, we're definitely not Japan. Spanish sunshine. I don't know where that came from, sorry. Here's Eduardo Rodriguez's truck looking like it's been through 15 rounds with a T-Rex, but he managed to get it to the end, and he will be your 2023 Promoters Cup champion. He's been an absolute star this season, rapid everywhere, so consistent. But as you see, clearly not over the moon with the current condition of the truck. I was going to say we'd imagine a massive smile on his face, but he seems to be a little bit preoccupied with the fact that that was not the most straightforward race for them. Antonio there with his team and some of the media, happy with that second place finish. Now, I imagine somewhere on the left-hand side of our cameraman we'll have Jochen Hahn. But the fans are all ready for more, I can tell you that. It won't seem like 5 minutes until we get back underway again. Still plenty to do here at Jarama. And look at it, it's just a great fun. Look at the atmosphere and the vibe here. It's so cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there is our drivers heading down toward Christina, who's going to give an interview for us. Christina.
Yes, thank you very much. 20th race win this season. Congratulations, Norbert Kiss. Another nice number in the books.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, we're really happy about it. And, you know, good season. And yeah, I like to offer this 20 win for the team, you know, because they are doing a really, really good job. And again, very strong qualifying, very strong race. Both starts was good this time, finally. So I could be safely in front in the first turn and then build a little bit of a gap and then take it easy in the last couple of laps. So, you know, works here really well here in Jarama as well.
Absolutely. He's the 5th-time champion, already crowned, Norbert Kiss, and right now he's another number in the books. But you need to be calm and collected this weekend. 2 red flags. How do you stay in the zone?
Yeah, and even during qualifying, you know, we had a very long red flags time, and then we had to go out for Super Pole, you know. So, yeah, it's always a bit difficult because, yeah, you have to be really ready to go. And then also in the race with the restart, you know, also the first start was good and I had already like half a second gap in front of Antonio. So I was happy with the first start, but, you know, obviously things like this happen and then you just have to be ready to go in the next one as well.
Ready to go, up to the podium.
Thank you.
So he's ready to go. We are too, Chaz.
I'll tell you what, Christina, that was smooth. Very, very smooth indeed. But yes, Norby, an absolute star, as always. 20 wins this season. And a big congratulations to Jose Eduardo Rodriguez as well, who doesn't quite take the win in the category in this race, but still crowns himself the 2023 Promoters Cup champion. Very well done. Norbert Kiss wins by just under, and literally just under, 7 seconds from Antonio Albacete, finishing in 2nd place. Jochen Hahn finishing in 3rd. Sasha Lenz 4th, ahead of Steffi Halm. Important points for Steffi there in the championship. She finishes ahead of Jose Rodriguez, who had a good run in 6th place, ahead of Andrei Kurzim. Then Louis Requenco finishes at the top of the Promoters Cup in this one. Heinrich Clementecker gets another Promoters Cup podium with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, rounding out the top 10 and taking the Promoters Cup title. John Newell finishes 11th with Stefan Faas in 12th place. And then, of course, we saw Jonathan Andre retire early on. Jamie Anderson and Mark Taylor did a little bit of live testing out there on the circuit as the race continued. So the party remains in full swing here in Spain. And as mentioned, we still have another race later. I have to keep reminding myself of that. The sun is getting low here in Spain and the action has been tantalising all day. And it's not over yet, I can tell you. Still 3 races left in the 2023 championship. And they are all going to be entertaining, I can tell you for free. Jochen Hahn makes his way to 3rd place on the podium. Another podium for him. And I've said all season that him and Antonio are battling for the most podiums ever in the championship. And with 1 apiece, well, they certainly keep the fight alive. A massive roar and a cheer for Antonio. And here is another massive roar from the crowd for Norbert Kiss, who takes round 29 of the season. The Norby flags are waving as well. Excellent stuff. Very well placed indeed, that flag. Maybe a little bit too well placed to cover up Norby. Now the trophies will be brought out and given to the drivers one by one before we then get the national anthem of Hungary in just a moment's time.
Presenting the trophy to the 3rd driver, Jochen Hahn, the director of the Jarama racetrack, Ignacio Fernandez.
Jochen Hahn holds the trophy high.
Is from the town council of the San Sebastián de los Reyes. He's going to present the trophy to the 2nd driver, to Antonio Albacete. Javier Mora, concejal de deportes del excelentísimo Ayuntamiento de San Sebastián de los Reyes.
Another trophy handed out there for Antonio. And the very appreciative crowd showing their congrats. And our race winner provided with his trophy as well for round 29 of the championship and a bottle of champagne, Norbert Kiss. And now we should have the national anthem of Hungary for our winning driver.
National anthem in the Jarama racetrack. Es el momento para el himno de Hungría. Suena por el ganador por Novi.
Excuse me. Thank you.
And there you go, Norbert takes the win. And what a great first race of the weekend it was. The drivers will now have their pictures taken on the top step all together. And then it will be time for champagne. I don't expect them to be spraying each other too much at this first point, because the champagne will dry out very, very quickly. And trust me, it stinks when it dries out that quickly. The drivers definitely don't want that for the rest of the day. Antonio and Jochen having a good laugh there, but I imagine everybody down there in the media and the teams will get a good spraying of champagne from this point. And these guys have all had some fantastic practice with this. I think the announcer is slightly behind time there, telling them to change their caps when the champagne's already been sprayed. But still, massive entertainment, and this is how the championship looks after that one. 381 points for Norbert Kiss. A big, big score indeed for him. And as you see, a big, big advantage now over Jochen Hahn in the standings. Jochen on 289 points, Antonio Albacete on 249 and 246 for Sascha Lenz. So very close there. Just 3 points between those guys now. Then we have Steffi Halm in 5th place now, 10 points clear of Andre Kurzim, and Jamie Anderson not scoring any points in that one on 138. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is now over 100 points in total and is, of course, the 2023 Promoters Cup champion. Stefan Faas in 9th place ahead of Lucas Hahn. Behind them, we have Mark Taylor and Adam Lachko, who is now only 2 points ahead of Louis Requenco, with John Newell just behind. Heinrich Clementecker on 22 points. Jose Rodriguez, Jonathan Andre, and Erwin Klein-Nagelvoort completing the overall standings at the moment. I believe we'll have, yes, the Promoters Cup podium. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Clementecker makes his way out onto the podium. And everybody's going to go crazy now, because out onto the podium, your Promoters Cup winner is Louis Requenco.
So the winner of the Promoters Cup, the Spaniard, Louis Requenco, with Iveco ahead of the German Clemens Heger.
That's his 3rd Promoters Cup win in a row for Louis Requenco. He got 2 on Sunday at Le Mans, one of them an overall race win, and now another Promoters Cup win as well. What a fantastic end to the season the Spaniard is having. Now the trophies are presented one by one to our drivers. Clemens Hecker gets his 2nd place trophy. And now our race winner in the Promoters Cup, Louis Requenco, will receive his very, very well-deserved trophy. Hats off to Stefan Faas and Tankpool 24, by the way, who really put up a good fight in that race there, didn't he? Try and extend the life of the Promoters Cup past race 1 today, but unfortunately in the end it was not enough to get the job done. Now we'll have the Spanish national anthem for our race winner in the Promoters' Cup. That was a very impressive whistle, wasn't it, from our cameraman? That's the Spanish national anthem there for Louis Recuenco, who takes a win on home soil in the Promoters' Cup. What a great start to his weekend that is.
Goodyear winner caps and trophies. Present your trophies. Y ese momento también de foto para esta entrega de trofeos con Luis Recuenco en lo más alto del podio.
And they will now all celebrate with champagne on the top step of the podium.
Un final de temporada sensacional el que está afrontando Luis tras ese susto y ese sabor amargo. El camión que se le
And a spraying of champagne for everybody down there below in the paddock. And I'm sure that it'll be the second race of the day where everyone will spray one another up there on the podium. It won't be long, though, before we're back out on circuit. I can tell you that. It certainly won't be. We'll obviously keep you updated with the programme as and when we can and via social media and all sorts. But Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is the champion of the Promoters' Cup in 2023. What a star and what a great campaign he has had there. Stefan Faas finishes in second place, or is, well, currently in second place. He's got a good enough gap, though, over John Newell at the moment, who moves ahead, of course, of Mark Taylor in the standings. John Newell finishing that one in... I believe he was classified in 4th, actually. Stefan Faas was classified behind him in 5th. I do apologise. But that means that John is now 18 points ahead of Mark Taylor and looking good for 3rd place in the championship. But Mark's luck might change, and you never know. These things can very quickly change in motorsport. Louis Recuenco now just 1 point behind Mark as well, so maybe even more change there. Heinrich Clemens-Hecker now 7 points clear of Lucas Hahn, who we don't have here this weekend. Jonathan Andre and Owen Klein-Nagelvoort complete the Promoters' Cup drivers that have scored points so far. Let's have a look back then at some of our finest pictures from this very entertaining first race of the day. Everybody was in great, great anticipation for the first race of the day, but we started very, very suddenly with a red flag, I'm afraid. 2 incidents down at turn 1 and at turn 3 certainly caused a lot of drama, and Jonathan Andre having to go into the pit to get his truck repaired, but eventually would retire from the race. It was a very busy turn 1 the second time around, and everyone kept it nice and clean, and Norbert Kish led away from the front of the field ahead of Antonio Albuquerque and Jochen Hahn. More problems for Mark Taylor would put him at the side of the road. He would eventually continue a little bit later, but it would not be enough to complete the race and score points and put them on the board. Jamie Anderson would also join in with his own problems a little bit later, which was a big, big shame for those guys because they're both in championship fights. Stefan Faas had a penalty from the earlier incident, and he had to really try his best to get away at the front of the Promoters' Cup. Did not work for him, and the championship would go the way of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. We're going to very quickly go back down to Christina, who is going to get more reaction from us.
The new Promoters Cup champion. Parabéns, José Eduardo Rodrigues, pelo título. Pronto, depois de ter participado uma temporada completa, que significa?
Sim, foi muito bom para mim, em termos pessoais, de evolução, aprender e, se possível, para o ano, lutar pelos lugares cimeiros.
So he was a race-by-race entry, and this is the first season he competed completely. And he said, yes, we are evolving, we are learning so much, and with all the help of the team and the personnel, of course. So quanta força a equipa dá? What strength does his teammates give him?
Sorry, no.
Quanta força a equipa dá?
Sim, sim. Estou muito satisfeito com o nosso primeiro ano aqui para mim. Apesar de sermos uma equipa já recorrente no Campeonato da Europa, para mim é o primeiro ano na Europa e estamos muito satisfeitos, estamos a evoluir e isso é o mais importante para mim também.
So they gained already some experience, of course, due to family business, and also they're competing in other championships. For example, he's also reigning French championship. We shall not forget that. So uma dedicação na pista e campeão da França também, não é?
Sim, sim, fomos campeões de França o ano passado e este ano estamos a lutar pela Promoters e o objetivo é ganhar a Promoters. Estamos bem encaminhados, mas ainda temos 3 corridas no fim de semana e vamos ver como é que corre.
So he's still in the competition mode. He said, yes, I'm champion of France last year, and this year we're competing for the Promoters Cup, but he just wants to gain more points, even though he's won the championship. Quais ambições tem para o futuro?
Passa por evoluir o carro, evoluir-me a mim mesmo e para o ano, se possível, lutar possivelmente por ser campeão da Europa. É difícil, mas um sonho permanece e vamos ver, vamos tentar e lutar, pelo menos pelos 3 primeiros lugares do ETRC.
Isto que vamos ouvir. Muito bem, obrigada.
Obrigado.
So he said, yes, I'm trying to compete. The evolution is going to be, let's get this Promoters Cup ready, and then he's going to compete for the Championship of Europe. So the ETRC pros there. We're going to have a look at, of course, his performance, and he did very, very well during the Promoters Cup. So the trucks right now, they made their way up to the paddock. Still one race to go. It's past 5 o'clock, this almost evening starting, but we did not start yet. Ready this weekend, just race number 1 into the books. We're really looking forward to see race number 2 and 3 tomorrow and 4.